Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Awakening Talk and Stories. This podcast is built on love. It is my hope that everyone who watches this podcast learns something new about life, our world, and about themselves. Today, I have two very special guests with me, Emma L. Mather and her mom, Yvonne Parry. Emma is a spiritual medium and artist, and her mom is also a spiritual medium. And I can't wait to hear their stories about how they developed their mediumship and how they got to be where they are today. And I'll also add that they both also teach spiritually. So this is going to be a great podcast if you are curious about spiritual awakening. And spiritual awakening is a process that starts, and once it starts, it never stops. So you're never finished. You're always developing spiritually, learning from God, the angels, your guides, when you open up to all of these beautiful things. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome my guests, Emma and Yvonne.
Hello, thanks you much for inviting us to your podcast. It's lovely to be here.
Very nice to have you here. So I'm going to ask Yvonne to share we figured we'd start in the beginning because without Yvonne, Emma, you wouldn't be here. So we're going to let Yvonne share her spiritual awakening story, and then we'll pick up with you. Please share, Yvonne.
Okay, awakening only came later in life. Awakening was always there, but I didn't really understand, to be honest. When I was younger, I did have a lot of experience with sensing things there and being afraid of the dark and thinking the things there. Because that was early on, primary school years, 7 and below.
Yes.
I do have memory also of being in the afterlife.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. Share that.
Yeah. I do have memory, but I didn't know or understand where they'd come from. Mm-hmm. I just did and I realised, I used to, when I was a toddler, I used to heal my own knees. If I ever fell and I had a cut. And I was only young, but I didn't know that. That's the question. I didn't know that when my family didn't really, even though there was a couple of mediums in the family, it wasn't really how it is today, explored in them way back then.
Right.
So, yeah, we did have mediums in the family. They were like scattered about, if you like. So we didn't have the knowledge like we have now anyway. So I wouldn't have known anyway why I was thinking that my hand could heal my knee at a child age. And then I have my teenage years where I've had experiences where I've seen spirit in physical form.
Yeah.
I was like playing one day and we were on our bike and I thought someone was chasing me. I was going to come on the bike and in the distance there was someone there, but only I could see, but I thought we all could see it. Because we were only kids, I was only 14. And I'm telling my friend, we have to real there's someone chasing us, and there wasn't really. But when I think about it now, like not just now, but after, I think, how could I see that distance? Really, because it was that far. The man was small in the distance, but my logic didn't grasp that anyway at the time. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I didn't know anything about spiritual stuff or anything back then anyway. But I realised he was getting larger and larger in size, which was telling me he was nearer and nearer. Mm-hmm. I couldn't fathom why he was catching me up. We were on the bike, but yeah, he was catching us up. It was a spiritual experience. It wasn't to what I was having.
Yeah.
And he was in a physical body. And then we came off this canal patch where we were, went over to the grass area, and then we got on this grass, and I turned round, and he stood right there. He looked at me, he pulled his tongue out, and he was dressed in old clothes, and he even had bike clip round his leg, but he wasn't on a bike. And then I turned back. I turned my friend, to show them that he stood there, and he wasn't stood there anymore. He was gone.
Mm-hmm.
That was another experience. But there are lots of experience, and I don't want to take the whole clip up with. I just thought that one to share.
Yeah.
Then
I wanted to ask you: did you see him with your physical eyes, or you were seeing him clairvoyantly with your clear sight?
well, no, I looked back. No, I could see him like I'm looking at Emma,
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't have. If he walked past me in the street, he would look physical. That's how clear it was.
Yep.
Okay, with
Yeah.
that, but when I know more about mediumship, I know now when I was seeing him that far, realistically, that could have been my third eye.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I can't physically when he was closer to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now it'd be hard to explain.
Yeah.
Because I can physically see him.
Yes.
In his body.
Mm-hmm.
And that. Anyway, I did have a few more experiences after that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think now. When I left home, and I lived in my first flat, okay. I had experiences there, and with things moving and candles lighting. There's always been activity around me, and I never understood why. I actually thought wherever I moved, there was activity. Well, I thought, why is every house haunted? I was afraid to move from location to location because I thought the houses were haunted.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved again from that flat to find my next property was still haunted.
Mm-hmm.
So there was activity in there. But that activity in there was far more prominent. We had a fire, we had a chip pan on, and the fire rose from the chip pan. And I am telling you now, it rose to the ceiling. They were very tall ceilings. It went across the ceiling. It must have been spiritual because I don't think the fire was really there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think it went across the ceiling, and we watched it climb back across the ceiling, come back down, and go back into the chip pan.
Wow.
That is, do you know what I mean? That just that when we had voices on a videotape, male voice on there. We had next door neighbours would constantly come knocking at my door. Okay, have you got a baby monitor? And I said, no. She said, well, you must have. She said, 'cause we can hear your baby crying. So again, we was a baby when we moved in this place. She wasn't born in the flat, but she was born in the other race that we moved to. And she said, I can hear your baby crying through our baby monitor from our house. So that go activity that was going on from our house. But it was just, I spent it all the time. I could hear a cat meowing. But then I moved again on the next location, and I could still hear the cat meowing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so convinced in the middle of the night one night that we had a cat trapped in our house because I didn't know about mediumship in the context. I didn't think I would be together. It didn't occur to me, to be really honest. I just didn't. I just thought haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when I could hear the cat meowing, and I was searching the house in the middle of the night looking for a cat because it bothered me because I was worried in case it was trapped somewhere in the house. And that was bothering me, you see. But nobody else could hear it. And they thought I was crazy looking for a cat that they couldn't hear. But I could hear it go loud and clear.
Yeah.
And that was another occurrence in a different house. There is more in between in each house. Right, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to show you how it didn't. It can't possibly have been every house haunted. I now know it was about my mediumship. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that back then.
Yes.
Also, no, I didn't practice mediumship till many years later. Still, I used to hear voices whispering, and I was so convinced I'd get out of bed and look on the landing because I could hear them on the landing, having conversations on the landing. And I used to think, what the hell? Then I thought, I think they're going crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot quiet as well, and I heard voices a lot. My doors rattle also. My tables are shut. I've watched clothes fall down. again, me thinking it was a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
The house I'm in now, all them occur. There are more like on and off, and you know what I mean. There are more, and I've seen other things, but I'm trying to narrow it down. So then I had Emma obviously in this house. She'd grown up in this house. Then one day she said to me, you know, she'd come across this group on, because she was by then on computers and grown up, teenage years. How old was you you were once a teenager, wasn't you? And she fancied this, so I fancied coming along. So I just went along, and it was for myself even anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went along to a group with Emma, not knowing anything about anything.
Yeah, I just turned in my
That's how that
20s at this point.
So
Yeah,
that started for myself. And
Yeah.
Emma can agree with that there.
Yeah.
She had experiences. Because I found myself at middle of the night, principal. I knew I could foresee as well. But one morning I got up, I knew there was a wasp on that in the bathroom, and I knew I was going to put my hand on it. So I could foresee that. So, I had an occurrence that occurred that was going in Emma's room and disturbing my daughter. And I put my foot down with that because I didn't want that interference. I believed in children to be brought up at the time, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, don't want her being plagued with spirits all the time, you know what I mean? She's stressed, you know what I mean? So I put salt around bed. In fact, my partner came home and said, what the heck is all this salt? Because I'd heard in the grapevine, salt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's fact in there. I've never researched that in truth, to be honest. But that was my method in my madness at the time. Like I said, I didn't do any research of any sort. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
I have seen spirit world. I have seen spirit world because I have seen where the left door and right door, and then I came across that in a book of Doris Thorpe, and I only came across that in my 20s, and I thought, how come she experienced what I know? And I've seen babies in bubbles, fetuses in bubbles,
Mm-hmm.
all just all up in the air. I can only explain that.
Mm-hmm.
And then growing, you know, the fetuses.
Mm-hmm.
So I assumed that must be, I don't even know whether it is actually. It coming to me this night about that, and that's because of what you showed today. And it just a memory. I've seen that where fetuses have been grown in a bubble. I don't even know what's true, but I saw that. I remember sitting on a hill with a woman, and I remember seeing my parents. But I was in the sky looking down, seeing my parents,
Yes.
and they were playing music.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah, I'll go there. I was checking them out with a guy,
Mm-hmm.
looking above, looking down. And they
Yeah.
were playing music, and I felt comfortable with who they suggested, parents. You know, so I must have visited them more than that time, but I just remembered that one time.
Yes.
Okay? So I just remembered that, and I felt the comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was in the sky. So I thought that was perfectly normal for me to be in the sky looking down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was looking down. I know they say heaven's not necessarily above, but I was above.
Mm-hmm.
I was, you know, that's
Yeah.
where and I was looking down. And I remember the spirit world, I remember the water. I remember the water when I would go, when it was there. And I would put my hand in the water and I put it out and it was dry. I put my hand in it, put it out and it's dry. And I remember being given a choice of staying in the spirit learning in spirit world
Mm-hmm.
or go to the earth where you get more points, if you like. You don't word it as points, but you get more benefit coming for growth, coming to the earth plane. I'm saying points, but back then I get more points because I didn't know nothing. I had that memory of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's all I knew back then, you see. I mean, now I do know more. But explain it to you, wait, then was I came back down. I got points for coming down to the earth more than you do in spirit world. But I actually remember being torn to choose there or choosing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that. And I felt the sense of fear of coming down to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that too.
Yes.
I remember loads of spirit beings in a line to be dropped in,
Yeah.
and
Ooh, I
that.
get cold chills with that. That's so beautiful.
And
No,
I remember that, but I also remember being the queue on the other side because they were going in Spirit Land, in that school of learning in Spirit Land. And
wow.
I remember that, and I always knew that, but I didn't understand that either. Like I didn't know. I just didn't know, and I got on with my life, playing with my friends and just living really.
Yeah.
So, and that was that. So
Yeah.
I knew my daughter had it, the game, and I tried to stop it because I didn't want to, experiencing all the golfer things. But I thought it was all golfer things, you see.
Yeah.
Didn't realise it was things back then. So when she was younger, and that's what I thought, the golfer thing, I didn't want to keep waking her up like they do with me, because I don't want to be scared, because I didn't understand what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to stop it, and then she obviously in her own space and time obviously come out for herself, and she'll have to now tell you her experiences and where that went from right there.
Yes. Yeah, that's excellent. I just want to say, Yvonne, that what you shared is beautiful, and there aren't a lot of people that remember pre-birth, though, as
Being
yeah, but if you notice, the younger children now, they more and more are having more pre-birth, remembrances, which is amazing because I always say if I'm going to come back, I want to come in remembering stuff. I want to come in with my just hit the ground running, right? But I just love that. And and when you ask me, do I understand about like seeing spirits and if they're going to follow you when you move, I had the same exact experience. Like I was afraid that if I left that home, that those spirits would follow us. And everywhere I went, I had the same experience you had. So it wasn't the house. And so I thought, like you, that everywhere had spirits around. And I guess in a way, we're right thinking that because we just happen to feel them, sense them, however our clairs work, we knew they were there. So yeah, that was excellent. I love that.
Well, open today, if that happened to me now, I would instantly go and research. But you couldn't even research back then, and I did go and try to research. There was no book anywhere to research either. I went to bookshops to research, and there weren't very many books of anything about mediumship or anything,
No. Oh,
back then. So, I had no idea, and it was just as simple as that.
yeah.
I just didn't want haunted thing happening to my daughter. I didn't
Right.
know it was mediumship. I just put it down to
Yes.
not good spirits in the house.
Because that's what we were taught. It was something to be fearful of, and of course in my generation it was like you don't speak to the dead, it's not really looked upon with
even though we had mediums in the family, we didn't see them every day. We didn't visit them. The main one that he lived in London, and his name was Ken Parry, and he lived in London, and he was a medium. If I'd have had these questions for him at the time, but I didn't see very much of him. He was an actor, and he was in London, you see. So I didn't even think to ask. But having said that, my dad also experiences things. His granddad, my dad, he has also been the same way inclined. And he used to always tell us when we were children, he used to get think of sky blue and they just disappear.
yeah.
I was brought up to think that,
Yeah.
I didn't think about mediumship, and not probably did he. But I don't know what happened with my uncle, you know what I mean? Because I could get he wasn't in our life, and that's just our family, and that's that, you know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't think better, and that's just as simple as that, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. So you shared that, you started to notice that Emma had the same things you had. You wanted to stop it. So
Emma used to draw, and she was very good. When she was 3, she used to draw. In fact, the teacher pulled me up in the nursery. She said, "I need to address this with you," and she said, she said, I don't understand why Emma's drawing the top of the hoagie.
Yeah, I was drawing the bird's eye view.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. How did she see that? Well, we know how she saw that. Oh wow, that's so cute.
It's because when I astral travel, I've been astral traveling from being young.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know at the time why she was drawing the top of the hoagie.
Right?
Because that's going back over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Even I was just trying to stop the ghost coming in.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
She was drawing top of the hoagie, and I thought, okay, I don't get it either.
Yeah, I was drawing the bird's eye view. So basically, when I astral travel, because obviously I'm flying.
That's right. And that's what she was drawing.
And
there's
many places I saw, like of houses, and so every time I was traveling, I could see the rooftops, cities and towns or hills wherever I traveled. I've seen that, so I would draw. And in my waking life, well, in the physical waking life, I would draw of these places that I saw.
Her answer to me when I asked her, she said, "That's how I see them."
Yep. Yeah, of course.
She was a little toddler.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whether you were astral traveling.
No, it just all came natural to me. I didn't think anything. I just thought, well, I saw that, so it was just normal to me to just draw that. But I was with other kids, and they'd be like, "What are you drawing?" And I'm like, "Oh,
It's the top of the house."
So my awareness thought, well, that's what I saw. Just do what I saw.
The garden was drawn from. If you go up there, you're drawing it. Are you with me? Everything was bird's eye view. Whatever you think, bird's eye view. That's what she drew. Bird's eye view on everything.
Yeah.
And
Emma,
I thought,
I have to ask you, Emma. I want to know, were you experiencing when you astral travel, for people that don't know, it's when a part of your spiritual body leaves your physical body and actually sees and goes other places. And I wanted to know, while you were doing that, was it intentional, or did you just automatically do it? And did you experience
it? Every night I just did it and just enjoyed traveling.
She was automatically doing it. And I know that because I'll tell you another story. She was automatically doing it because I already sent the spirits around her anyway, which I already told you that, yeah.
Yep.
And I would print gold around her because she'd have peaceful night sleep. Even though I wasn't aware about astral travel, I wasn't educated on that either back then. We're talking now about 30 years ago.
Yes.
So I was just doing the sculpt to keep, I thought, spirits away. But I didn't know any better. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not practicing mediums. I didn't connect. I didn't do nothing. I would get spirit in and carried on my life, ignored it with her and all of that. And we do. Back then we did.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because she's a toddler. Because she can just get, you know, like when I said, you know, that's what she sees, you know, in a drawing. She regularly astral travelled as a child.
Yeah, I do.
It would come natural. So the question there you asked originally, she couldn't possibly have been prepared for it because she was only about 5.
Yeah,
she was only 5. So I can't really say she was really aware that she had the intention of going astral travelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ended up hearing about the a healer back then. And she lived up road. I didn't fully know what. I thought, go on, we'll give it a go. She was deaf, to be fair. And I thought, oh, well, go on, we can heal her here. Go on, I'm open. I am open to, you know, whatever. So I did go to have healing on her ears. I thought, okay. Not that I dealt with anybody else, of any spiritual, of anything at all. But I was drawn to this, to do that. But it was to make her better in my eye. At the time, I thought. Anyway, of course, she had all these crystals. I didn't know. To me, they were just stones everywhere. But at the time, I didn't know what crystals were anyway.
Yes.
Obviously, she did, this lady. And she must have been a medium because as she got Emma in this chair, she said, she spends more time in the spirit world than anything. She said. And she said, oh dear, she said, they're having to you need to talk to her about the fence You need to talk to her about the fence. I need to tell her not to climb the fence. Because if she climbs that fence, she will not be coming back.
Yeah,
And the other children that she's been playing with in Spiritland.
Yeah. The 2 children play with the one at field.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was a, like,
They
it
have
was
tried
actually a
numerous
field.
times to stop Emma going over the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know if she could go over the fence, she joins them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Permanent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you even know they could even occurring? Why didn't you do that every night about doing that? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But she wanted to go and play over the field with them.
Yeah, I was playing on a gold wheat field, and in the distance was a tree. And I remember feeling such soft, comfortable warmth on my feet. It's like warmth, no, you don't feel it on the earth plane. But it was like it was overwhelming, warm joy.
Yeah.
And you could feel everything around. I could feel the energy in the atmosphere. And it was just complete joy. Your mind's in a complete different state on the other side. But I remember running down the field with these 2 children holding my hands, so I was running along with them. And I was running up to the tree. And then at the one point, there was a fence in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I did run over to the fence, but there was also like a gate. So I couldn't see beyond that gate. It was blurred out to me, but that's because it was going beyond the astral dimension.
Mm-hmm.
When I stepped a little close to it, I started to feel an energy, and I thought, I'm not supposed to go beyond here.
Yeah.
Myself, but I was curious, obviously, because I could see it, but it was blurred. But I didn't go beyond it because I felt like it. After that, I woke up.
Yeah. Wow, that's an amazing story. Wow, I've never heard one like that before. That's really neat. So there you're just like your mom, you're experiencing all of these things, but you added a few other layers to it. Astral traveling, no intention, just doing it and actually drawing it. And so the story, we had spoken a lot before we did this podcast, and the thing that fascinated me the most about you, Emma, was you were hearing impaired when you were born, but nobody knew it because you read lips. I mean, how smart is that? Come on now. And I want to know, did you hear spiritually? Could you hear into the spirit world?
I sort of just knew what people were saying. I don't know how, but I was looking at people and I would lip read. I was just knowing what they were saying, even though I couldn't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how I passed many hearing tests somehow. I don't know how, but I managed to pass hearing tests. Obviously, it's mind bottled them. And they're just looking to think, well, she's not obviously not because she's lip reading. She can hear what you're saying, but even though I couldn't.
Right.
So I think that's another mystery as well, because I was only little when this occurred.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when I was in the nursery school, I was seated. Well, my mum asked this teacher.
As a mum, I knew.
Yeah.
There was,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Though her voice doesn't sound like she's deaf.
Yeah.
I have taught Emma also to progress and catch up on that. We're going back when she was 2 onwards, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's a long time now, isn't it? Go.
Not
that you're old, because you're not old.
Well, no,
a long time ago. So I did a lot of self-taught with Emma and a lot of one-to-one with Emma. I did spend a lot of time.
Yeah, which helped as well with but lip reading as well taught me as well when I was lip reading people copying it. It helped me to use my vocabulary and speak like anybody else really of hearing. But my mum would ask a teacher in the nursery to seat me, so I'm not looking behind, just looking directly in front. And she asked to clap her hands behind me to see if I responded. She
unbeknown
did that.
to Emma, of course.
Yeah, unknowing to me. So she clapped her hands, and I didn't respond. And that's when she thought, okay, yeah, there's something wrong here because she's not responding. Yeah. So I was referred to the hearing team then, wasn't I? And that's when they treat things further. And then I got my hearing aids then. And then the first sound I heard was the clock ticking and the birds tweeting. I was like, oh, what's that? I was all excited at the time because there were 2 first sounds I heard, like, in my entire 2 years.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I kind of, you could hear a noise,
Yeah.
and she couldn't pinpoint it, and then she pinpointed the noise,
Mhm.
and it was our feet walking.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. The pitter patter, and yeah, it's all new,
Walking.
fascinating
But
thing you don't really
you take it for
appreciate,
granted
so.
now. The
Yeah.
feet walking. I bet it's not like that's awareness as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because no, because you're so used to feet walking, you just because
Yeah.
you live life, you're not aware of it. But
Yeah.
I bet if you focused on that, you probably.
I still do.
Yeah.
The
It's a
moments
thought in this moment.
I hear it, and it's like, you know, all these sounds like the horse trotting and things like that. I do still, you know, acknowledge that, and I think it's something that's just stayed with me, because when you've not had something for such a long time, and to receive it,
Mhm.
like for the first time ever in your entire life, it sort of makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Because when you've never had it, it's like, oh, that's really wow. It's like a gift in a way.
Right.
So it makes you appreciate it more, and makes you want to hear it more, and experience it over and over, because it's like it's fascinating to not have it before and to have it now. It's like something. I mean, it's like anybody could be given, I don't know, a box of toys, say,
Yeah.
but a child who doesn't have a box of toys for like a long time, and he's going to get some, he's going to really want to really play with them toys over and over again, because he's never had that before. So it makes you really
Appreciation,
appreciate.
that's it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
Appreciation.
But yeah, going back to the astral law, I want to mention as well, I saw the Stonehenge,
Mhm.
and I remember that going me black, but it was a complete Stonehenge. It wasn't broken; it was fully fixed.
Mhm.
And on that Stonehenge was a dragon statue.
Wow.
It had a yellow ray energy going from the centre of it as well, which is the energy, which is a lot of stories said about the Stonehenge, isn't there? And they talk about the dragon energy, you know, the dragon energy to the Stonehenge.
Yes.
I didn't know that till later on. I was only probably 5. Yeah, I was 5 years old when I experienced that.
You were back.
And then I was hearing stuff like about the dragon energy to the Stonehenge and things like that being said.
Yes.
So that's like confirmation for me to experience that in astral, and to experience that in real life.
Mhm.
There's been other things I've experienced in astral, like I don't know, I start like extraterrestrials and things like that as well,
Yeah.
which you right on to like, oh, I've seen that in my astral. So it's like, well, to see it and experience it on the TV,
Mhm.
shows that it's not just in your mind.
Right.
It's there.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few experiences in regard that I've actually done drawings regarding what I've experienced in Atlantis as well, Atlantis and other places,
Yeah.
all in the astral dimension.
Mhm.
There was also another time where I was going through a corridor. It looked like to me like I'm not going to say Akashic Records, but it looked like the entrance of.
Mhm.
Because I've never seen these bands on the wall, like green bands on the wall, and the wall's like marble. It was like all marble, and I remember the floor being white.
Mhm.
Bands on the floor as well. I remember being stood there. I remember looking down the corridor. It looked like there was some spiral staircase. As I walked down, and I'm looking back, and when I turned around, I saw a stand with a book on it,
Mhm.
and then I saw in the distance behind the book stand was like a shimmery mirror, as
Mhm.
it was like a portal, if you like, but it was shimmery, very
Yeah.
shimmery, and it was glowing and all kinds. And I remember stepping through that, and as I stepped through it, it took me to another dimension of falling. So I was falling in the sky.
Mhm.
So I think that was like a bit of an experience. Because we can experience, like, instead of having an actual life experience, sometimes in spirit, you can have just a temporary experience to feel what it feels like to fall, or to experience pain, or
Mhm.
sometimes it's a brief experience for their own personal growth,
Mhm.
spiritual growth. The book, I think, was my book of life. I didn't get to read it, obviously, because obviously I'm not meant to know everything.
Right.
I was curious, but I didn't get to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
You should have gone reading the book and not gone in the portal thing. Straight
Well,
to
it was
the
so
book.
shimmery
I'd have
and
gone
shiny.
to the book.
It was
Yeah,
so
they'll only show you so many words, though. Even if you see the whole thing, and you're right, they won't show you everything.
Magpie, that's why. Shimmering.
yeah, there was a book there and a mirror there, and I was like, well, okay, I can see the book there. And then I saw the shimmering mirror, and it just, obviously I wanted to know what that was. And I also remember another occasion where I was painting in spirit,
Uh-huh.
and I was in this room, and while I was painting on canvas, there was a bucket outside of me. It was a bucket of water. And I remember I forgot myself in that realm for the moment. I knocked the bucket over and thought, oh no, I spilled water. And I realised it didn't spill, it just stayed where it was.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, oh, that, nothing spills here, does it?
Well, that was good.
Mad.
Yeah.
And I remember just walking to the other end, and I remember seeing this gentleman in a white robe, and he was just laughing at me. I felt that he looked like Jesus to me. But when I saw him, he was just laughing, bubbling, really grinning. He had like short curly hair, and I remember him just laughing at where was we actually.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Oh, that's a good story. Do you have pre-birth like your mom? Do you remember pre-birth memories like your mom did?
I don't remember pre-birth, but it's more just my spirit life mostly. Like when I've been on the other side, either through astral or I do remember some memories, but I think more like past life memories, like the Egyptians. And I do also have memories regarding to like Atlantis and things like that. So it's more like what I remember from then to now. But I can remember being a baby putting a weighing scale, and I remember feeling absolutely freezing. I have memories of being that age.
That did happen though. I'd actually complained at the nookie on that day when they did that, because they just put in that thing, that where they weigh the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they take your clothes off and they just weigh them in that.
Yes.
How stupid! They didn't put a blanket in.
I know.
I thought, it's really cold in here.
It was a cold metal, the silver.
Yeah.
And they placed her in that.
Yeah.
And she bursted out crying.
Yeah, because it was absolutely. I remember it because it was like so cold.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was shaking because she was a newborn baby at the time.
Yeah.
She was only a couple of weeks old.
Wow.
Do you remember as well when I was 2 years old, going back when we used to live in one of the old houses, which was Neville Street, and I do remember seeing a gentleman who I do believe it's a relative because of the way he looked, he had a bald head. I'm not sure of his name. I know it's on the Parry side, but he was quite stocky. And I remember licking this lolly in the living room in this house. I'm looking at him like, try. I couldn't hear, but the way he responded, he must have known I'm deaf. Knowing that I was deaf, he was like responding to me with like this no and yes. I'm like just like nodding his head. So I had this lolly and I went, just say on to lolly. And he just looked at me and went like that. He was actually seated on the couch at the time opposite to me. And my mum was looking at me, and I look at my mum and said, who are you talking to? And I was like, what do you mean I'm just talking to him?
Yeah.
But he was obviously spirit, and my mum couldn't see him, but I could at the time. But he was just sat there, like, just sitting comfortably on the couch, and I'd be there, stood in front of him with a lolly. Do you want a lolly? No, and he just said, no, I didn't want one. Another occasion that I do remember was the fire as well. I remember that fire because I was a toddler when that happened, and I saw that fire going to the ceiling. And it went back to, it went back into the pan. Was it the pan or the jet?
No, it went in the pan.
Yeah, it's pan. Okay. Yeah, it was uncanny that.
Yeah. So you're growing up with all of these abilities or things happening to you, Emma. And then you're drawing. Obviously, you've been an artist since you were a young child. You were drawing from the sky, the bird's eye view, surprising everybody. But you said when you were 20, right, Yvonne, like you were starting to develop, you're starting to, investigate how to develop or learn more about your things that
There-
happened to you.
There was nothing out there at the time. There was nothing out there at the time, and
Right.
I didn't know. I just needed to listen and connect.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So I was trying to get.
I thought it was haunting and not the media.
Yeah, I do. I was trying to get you guys both to the point where, like, you realize, Emma's gifted too. She's very spiritual. She's seeing into the spirit world. So I'm wondering when you both started to go and learn together.
Yeah, that was when Emma was a teenager, and you can tell that story.
Yeah, so basically...
what drew you to where you went to?
Yeah, so I had a few life experiences. I started having more bizarre experiences than normal. I went through a traumatic experience in life, which caused me to go on this journey. So it brought my attention to explore more into the more things I was experiencing.
They had computers then, though.
Yeah. So I was experiencing like beyond this dimension, like the ETs, other things going on. I was receiving messages from people on the other side, and so I thought, well, I know I'll have a look for a group, like see where I can go to go further with my journey, and that's how that unfolded. So I was invited to this group, and I said, "Mum, would you like to come along to this group? Like to explore and delve more into this avenue," and that's how that's unfolded. So my mum decided, yeah, she'll come along.
Not straight away, no.
Eventually,
I said no, because it'll open up something again, and I'll have all these ghosts again.
Right.
I'd already settled it all down at that point. I was a little bit wary of going because I'd settled it all down.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work to settle everything down.
Right.
And then she just stirred it all up again and kicked it all off again.
Yeah.
I
do.
So
I just felt pulled. I felt compelled and pulled, and it just drew me into that direction. So I just listened to myself, my own intuition. I thought, yeah, okay, I'm experiencing all these astral travels and these experiences. And when I'm talking to people like every day who are not experiencing that, I was feeling like I couldn't go further. And I just felt like I needed to go further, and I wasn't going further there. So that's where I've explored that avenue, and then that avenue spanned off from one thing to another. The spirit guidance came about then, really. I've always drawn faces from being a little girl, and it's like I would see people's faces in my dreams, astral, well, a bit of both there, because you can tell the difference. When you're in astral, your body's solid. You don't feel anything, but you can actually feel your body's solid. It's quite a bizarre experience. I mean, amazing, really. But yeah, when I was seeing people in my mind's eye, or physically, or the astral, I would draw them, and I didn't take them anywhere at first. I just drew what I saw. So it was all from spirit influence, myself, higher self, Jesus, and all those who help you in the spirit world, really.
Yes.
And one day I started showing people the faces I was drawing, and they say, "That's my grandmother." She's in spirit, or that's my daughter, she's in spirit, and then I would give off a little message like what I got with the person who basically passed to spirit. So I said, this is someone who I've seen in spirit, and I felt drawn to the person.
Yes.
That's how I was told, like, oh, this drawing belongs to this person. So I just went towards that person and showed them, and said, and they just like teared up, saying, "That's my daughter," or my grandmother, or my dad. There's been so many people, so many drawings. I mean, some drawings I've given for free, but I didn't think beyond, I just gave, you see, and I was always a giver at the time. But that was just me and my nature, I think, till I went doing it into, as a profession.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wondered about you. So you just kept progressing, and so you never really thought about what you were going to do for a profession per se, because it was already put into place for you and just naturally progressed. So you just
Yeah.
We went with your gifts, and you knew that you could help people, right? With all that you brought through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had mediums come to me and say, "Oh, you're a spirit artist. You're gonna do this." I'm like, "Well, yeah." So yeah, I said yes. I've told them that I do draw people and of spirit. So yeah, and I mean, there's lots of people that I've been to, and there's been some nice experiences, but there's been some not so good experiences as well. And what I mean by that is because when I'm going in, I can go in with a message of spirit telling them of all the things that's to come.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are times where they might say, "Oh, something's going to occur here," and I don't always look forward to giving certain news, but if they want me to tell them, I then feel like I have to, because if I don't, I'm not doing my part for them.
Right.
And only if it's absolutely necessary, so I will tell them and say, and then they might be a bit dingy at first, but later on they discover and think, I'm really sorry, you were right. When you said this, this has occurred. Obviously, I try to put it in the gentlest way as possible for them, so that it's not going to cost harsh or shock to them, or
Right.
But there has been experiences as well where, I mean, I don't always tell people this bit, but there are experiences where I've seen people with a light in the nose or other areas, and that was spirit telling me that. Well, I'm saying it's actually a personal spirit saying they're about to leave the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can never quite say, because there was this one lady I saw have light from her nose. She passed just like a couple of weeks after,
Mm-hmm.
and she was scared because she didn't know what to expect on the other side, and so yeah, there are some experiences. I mean, there's joyful times with it, and then there's time where somebody's gonna pass.
Yeah, but you didn't tell that lady that.
That's what I just said. Yeah, that's what I just said.
That'd be unprofessional anyway to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't tell them if they're dying, obviously.
Right.
Not unless they ask me to say, tell me up front if I'm dying. I'm not bothered. Just like, if they really wanted to know that, then I do that out of respect for them, not because I'm just like important saying, "Oh, you're gonna die."
Right.
I will actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to be honest, because if the message is coming from that person, it's coming for a reason. If they ask the question, we can't lie. You can't lie to them. But you can say it, very tactfully, and nobody knows the day or the hour, right? So I mean, it's not like you're telling them that. But yeah, people feel it though. I think so many people feel.
I
Yeah.
think seeing it is to give comfort. I think when someone's experiencing fear and it's the dying, I think the reason for it is because they need comfort of what it's going to be like through the death process. So if I'm seeing it, it's them needing comfort. It's saying, right, this person needs comfort of what it's going to be like to process crossing over. They need ease to feel more relaxed about it than feeling scared, worried of the unknown. So it's about giving them comfort and putting their minds at ease about it, and bringing reassurance in that way and compassion.
Yes.
But that doesn't apply to all, and Emma doesn't see that all the time. Obviously, she doesn't see it all.
Yeah, I think Mum's thinking about it now.
Yeah, because
I've had a few experiences.
we can only give information for the high good. I trust spirit completely.
Yeah.
And they don't, to be really honest, give you the information that you shouldn't share in truth.
Right.
But I can't speak for all people. I'm only speaking for myself.
No, I think like I said, I think this share because it's simply because it's them wanting comfort.
Yeah.
That's it. If they're wanting comfort, that's why it's happening.
That's why it happened to Emma in the first place. Because spirits do know from the higher level what your client is needing always. You know what I mean? And you only deliver what you get, and you do not add on.
That's right.
And you deliver that. And they always know for the highest good of yourself and your client. Well concerned. And they do only do that in truth. Or I do think that, in that case, presented itself in those reasons
Yeah, they'll not show you for nothing. They'll always show you for a reason.
Exactly.
Right. And don't you find with all of the spiritual work anyway, it's healing. So when people come to a medium for a reading, they might think that, there's life after this, right? They but they might be afraid to think, oh, did my loved one go to heaven? Are they still, out there somewhere? And just the fact that a medium can bring them those messages is just, yeah, it's amazing, and it is healing. I feel like that's one of the greatest things about mediumship, because people really always, even if they're very religious or even spiritual, sometimes they'll wonder, does that really happen to them? Do we really go on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. So if I see that on someone, I will come to them and give them comfort, only if they wanted to. But if I know they're feeling it too much and they might not want to have done it, then I won't.
Yeah.
So even if I do see it, I might not always sit, because it's not right to impose that on someone. That's just spirit saying to me that I'm connected, or it's showing that I'm connected to say, right, but I won't always say to the person, not unless they're meant to, because spirit will tell me,
Right.
they'll say, tell them to give them comfort, or they'll just say, right, you're seeing that for your own personal experience. Because it's something for you to learn on your journey or experience. There's lots of reasons, but you never experience
Teaching the
something
meetings as well, aren't we?
you always experience something for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's another beautiful thing about doing spiritual work. It's because people think we know everything. People will say, "Well, why don't you know this? Why don't you know that?" It's not. It doesn't work that way, and we learn every day. And I'm sure that you both can speak to this. With every reading that you do, with everything you do spiritually, you are going to learn something in that reading. That it's so beautiful. Would you like to speak on that?
Sure. Yeah, I think I just want to say though as well. I want to talk about the avenues as well with the astral. When it came to doing the astral traveling, and I would come back and do spirit drawings, I would draw different versions and different realities of people as well. Like some people might not always have a photograph of the person. So, i.e., if they've gone back to spirit young, they may not appear as themselves old. So that's their way of saying in spirit world we can go back looking for we want to. So that's confirmation to say people, look, we don't just go over and look old. We don't have to stay old. We'll just look old for your confirmation of saying, okay, yeah, that's what we look like before we passed. But it's not them in spirit always. I do and have drawn people in the younger version of themselves in spirit, even as a child, because sometimes that's their best memory. It's all about going back to the past life experience, or the current life experience, or whatever life they choose to be in the spirit world, down to them, but they'll always show the face that you remember them as.
Yeah.
But you have to also, they know what awareness you've got, understanding. So if they know you've got that understanding that they can lead young in spirit world, then they'll work with what you know. So if they come to me looking young, that's them saying, this is how I look like when I was 30 years old, or whatever age. So I'm appearing to you because you have this knowledge about this. So I want you to share that experience with these people that might be or might not be in the know. But it'll help with their growth and understanding the afterlife.
Yes.
So I'll show you a couple of drawings that I've done of past loved ones, recent and old. And this was actually put in the Psychic News magazine, issue from January.
Yeah, and we will include a picture of this also in the comment sections when we actually air our podcast, so people will be able to see them very clearly. Yeah.
I've done crystal creations as well. There's a crystal dog that I have made as well. I still have that one aside. Actually, I'll show you that one now.
Okay. I love people that love their art. It's just so, oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's made from pure crystals that you can see. There's black obsidian in it. It's made from black obsidian, and I use like a resin, and
Okay.
it's mixed with very, very mild resin. There's not a lot of resin in it. It's just to bond the crystals together.
Mm-hmm.
So it is made of 100% pure crystal.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very nice. So you work mediums with art. It's not just painting. It's and I saw that you also do jewelry as well.
Jewelry.
Jewelry, yes, I do jewelry as well.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of them on my website, an Etsy shop. So like when typing in my name, Emma Mather, you can see that on my Etsy shop as well.
Yeah.
Alongside with creations on my website, which is www.mlmather.com, which you can see more of my
Yes. I'll
portrait.
also include that underneath too in the bio under there. So all of your information will be there. So everybody that wants to contact you and wants to have a drawing and a reading, I've had them myself, and I actually purchased one for my mom, and it was a beautiful experience. My mom never really had a reading with anyone else, so you were the first ones that she, other than me, that she actually had a reading with. So yeah, it's pretty special. Yeah.
Thank you, and it was I've got your angel paintings as well, both of them. I can't wait to hang them in Dylan's room when he's here in about 2 months' time, roughly.
Yeah, on your pregnancy, it's so exciting. If people don't know, Emma is pregnant for her first child, and so yeah, it's so exciting. Yeah,
I'm sure he's probably going to be like us as well.
yeah, I can't wait to hear the stories about how this is going to carry into another generation. But you know, it's already been in your family anyway. Like I know that's how it goes. You know, it's generational. These are special gifts, and I feel like as we move forward and these new children keep coming in, I feel like they're just going to be more and more open because we're more open. We understand more now. And so now we can just guide them so much better, you know, and it won't be like your mom and I. There was nothing to read about. We just thought that everywhere we lived was haunted, you know? And so, there's another ghost here, you know? So, so now we can bring it to a whole other level and take it and use it to help other people and then help people to learn to help themselves, which is beautiful, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. We're going in with more awareness and understanding about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the spirit drawing, I want to mention as well. I don't just draw from my mind's eye. I do also see like a traced outline on the drawing on the blank canvas. So depending what size they want, I will see like a guided outline of a person on the blank canvas. So that's another way and technique that I draw spirit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work like clairvoyantly through astral, seeing them physically or my mind's eye, and these other ways as well. So I can also see them as an outline. So yeah, it's not just loved ones; it's spirit guides as well, angels, and so much more. And there's always a reason for them coming forward. So when people might be expecting something else and something else comes forward, there's always a reason for it, for their own personal growth and development, and progressions on their spiritual journey or
Right.
life journey, which have you. And it's always explained in transcript or via a reading.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. And so just out of curiosity, how long have you actually officially been working together doing the readings in tandem as mother-daughter?
I want to say from 2012.
Nice. So you've been at it
It's
for a while.
behind the scenes, but officially 2012. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, Yvonne. So you were really into your game by then. So I understand your timeline a lot. It coincides a lot with mine, how you described your journey. So yeah, and I actually raised a spiritually gifted son, my youngest one, but he doesn't want to develop or anything like that. But you know, everybody's different. So I always feel like bringing all this information out and normalizing it is really going to help for people to feel better and to understand themselves better, and also to help parents help their children, and to not be fear-based anymore. I feel like that is the most important thing we can do, is to bring it out and not live.
In our case, though, it wasn't parent bringing the child out.
Yeah.
The child brought it out more for me.
Yes.
You know, or should I say, she didn't bring the gift out; they were already there.
Yeah.
What she did was make me understand
Mhm.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understand.
But
It's
out because I didn't go on computers even back then. But
I think the reason I'm here, from what I've learned on my journey,
Mhm.
I'm here to show people the natural way of how it is,
Mhm.
love and compassion, not to limit yourself and not to listen to what other people's way of thinking is, in the sense of if they think this is how it should be or that's how it should be. There
Yes.
is no should be about anything.
Mhm.
Your spirit in a human body, how you are born to the earth plane, to just experience everything in the open. You're receiving everything as it is. You're not saying, oh, this is how it should be, that. All the fears that come in, this is where competition started with mediums as well,
Mhm.
because they think this is how it should be, that's how it should be. Oh, you can't do that, and rules set in.
Mhm.
But spirit don't do rules. It's free. It's
Mhm.
a collective thing. It's as you see it, as it is.
in the moment,
Right. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. I feel the same way. And everybody has their own way of being. And I always say to people, if you go to a spiritual class and they tell you this is the only way that this can happen, or the only way you can experience this, I tell them find another teacher, because it's just like every process, every experience, nobody has the same experience or the same process ever. We can learn from other people, but then we are who we are, and there'll never be another one like me, you, Yvonne. So, and that's what's so beautiful about it. And the competition thing, when we get past that part of the ego and being a human being, can you imagine how beautiful the planet will be when we just acknowledge that we are all beautiful, we are all spiritually gifted, and we're here to love each other, not to compete with each other, you know?
It creates that open connection. You can be more connected. The more you're in competition, it's closing down connections.
Mhm.
And so it's like if you go spirit there, I want to communicate, that could close next because you're not allowing the open connection.
Right.
Or by a medium or person, what have you, there's always that connection in your circle.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what else is beautiful about so many people being able to do this work is what I deliver for a message will not be what you deliver for a message. We might hit on certain things, but then you will find different evidence, evidential mediumship, and I might get another bit or piece of the puzzle that helps somebody to understand,
Yes, it fits the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're all part of the puzzle. And
Yeah.
if eventually, possibly down the line, I don't know when,
Mhm.
but then at some point, people might realize. To be honest, in small doses, they'd start to realize it's like all these cities of lights. You get all these lights there. That's lit up. That's lit up. That's lit up.
Mhm.
But eventually, all the collective consciousness will realize how we're all fitting in the piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. When we all realize that we are truly all one being, we're just individuals having an individual experience here, but we are really all connected. We are all one. And when people realize that, yeah, that's gonna be beautiful, and I hope I'm here to see more and more of that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
probably future generations will start to, because our future generations now are doing meditations and things like that. So
Yeah.
that'll be a good start from, definitely.
Yep, yep. So I just want to thank you both for joining me today, and I have really enjoyed your sharing of your stories. It was so interesting to me, and I never get tired of listening to people's stories. That's what inspired this podcast. So, as I said earlier, I will include all of your information in a bio and a link to your website so that people can reach you. And whoever's watching, I want them to make a comment, like and share this video so we can help other people to understand who they are and help them live a much more enriched life, you know, a much more positive and grounded life on this planet. So with that being said, I am saying goodbye, and I'm wishing everybody light, love, peace, and blessings of all kinds. Until next time, Reverend Melissa Kennedy signing off, and thank you once again. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I've been really lovely to be here.
Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Joanne.
welcome.